K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
All right, folks. Well, it is Wednesday. That's right. It is Hump Day, August 19th, 2015. Just a couple minutes past the hour right here in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City. I, of course, am your host, Rick Robinson. Want to give a quick shout-out to the affiliates, as we always do. AMFM247.com, SHR Media, LERN, Leading Edge Radio Network, of course. Red State Talk Radio, where the show can be heard every Sunday. And then, of course, the home stations, our home network, the Spark Radio Network, and the home station, K98Talk.com. Lots of places this show can be heard, and at this point, it's actually heard anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day, depending on what day of the week it is. So, awesome exposure for us. All right. Lots and lots to talk about today. We're going to take a break from politics for a second, and we're going to talk about some other stuff that's kind of been boiling in the news for a while. We've got that whole Ashley Madison thing, and then, of course, now there's the subway guy back in the news. We'll be spending the first part of the show definitely talking about him, because there's some things I don't know if you guys know. And I found some clips to go along with a few things, and they're a little disturbing. We'll actually touch off on that as soon as we get back from the break, but at this point we do have to pay some bills, so I will be right back with you here in just a couple minutes with the beginning of the show. Alright, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
The wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the...
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, folks, it is, of course, Wednesday, and I'm back with you now that we've paid the bills. This is, of course, America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. Now, tonight we're going to be taking a little bit of a break from politics. We'll probably be back on that tomorrow because I've seen a few headlines that have kind of grabbed my attention, so I definitely want to talk more about that stuff probably tomorrow. But the thing that's kind of been on my mind for the last couple of days is this whole thing. Well, it's two things, actually, and it just goes to show exactly where this country's headed if you really stop and think about it, and it's not a good thing. We have this group called Ashley Madison, and is basically a website designed for folks that want to cheat on their spouses. And I'm not talking little piddly Annie everyday folks. I'm, like some dude working at 7-Eleven cheating on his wife that's a hostess at Denny's. I'm talking like high-power folks that are like, yeah, we want to do the dirty, and we don't want nobody to know about it. There's been this whole leak of a bunch of different emails that have come out from government places with that Ashley Madison stuff. We'll talk about that later in the show. But for the first part of the show, gotta take things in a different direction, but only slightly. I'm sure everybody knows who Jared Fogle is. He's been the spokesman for Subway for quite some time. Of course, he started bragging, I believe it was late 80s, early 90s, that by eating just a couple of Subway sandwiches a day, he had dropped several dozen pant sizes, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So, of course, he became the big spokes guy. He's everywhere. If you go to his Twitter feed, you can see pictures of him actually doing MC work during a recent race where Subway was a sponsor for NASCAR. But there's some things about this guy that you may not know. I mean, they're just starting to come out, so I'm sure you probably do. But apparently, old Jared has a thing for the youngins. And in a clip that we'll play here in a little bit, because I'm going to kind of run a few clips in order, just to kind of give you some backstory and then let you see how it progresses. It turns out that not only does Jared like the youngins, apparently he's been involved in a children's charity now for quite some time. Now you tell me that's not scary. Now, in the interest of fairness, some of what he's gotten in trouble for is apparently he paid for sex acts through Craigslist with a 16-year-old. Now, one of the biggest things that I see as far as an overall argument about why that shouldn't be a big deal is apparently in Indiana, which is where this occurred, the age of consent is 16. Now, I'm not an attorney, and I don't know anything about Indiana's actual law, but I know Oklahoma has something very similar, where the age of consent is considered to be 16, unless the person you're consenting with is above the age of 18. At that point, the parents can still pursue statutory rape, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But this person is 16. One of the arguments I've seen on one of the channels that I pulled some of this audio from was, this is a person that we trust behind the wheel of the car, and yet we don't think they're smart enough to make decisions as to who they can sleep with? First of all, I'm not exactly very thrilled that we allow 16-year-olds to drive. This being a 16-year guy who was, used to be 16 and at one point did drive. Because we know a lot of things medically that we didn't know before. Like the simple fact that there's a part of your brain that doesn't start working usually unless you've taken some sort of chemical or imbibed too much alcohol that makes it stop working altogether. There's a part of your brain that helps you understand the consequences of the things that you do. That part of your brain doesn't start working until usually about the age 25, 26. The funny thing is, even though it wasn't that widely known, you still talk to parents back in the day, and the first thing they'd always tell you is, well, it seems like your kid's brain damage wears off about 25. So even common sense-wise, people knew something changed, usually about the age of 25. Now, this is another thing that's going to get me hated by the full-on conservative crowds, and I've told you up front, there are lots of things that I'm conservative about. There's a few things that I'm not conservative about. I will tell you right now that since there's a part of your brain that does not start working until age 25, I don't think you should be allowed to do much of anything. At least not as a legal adult until that part of your brain starts working. The problem is that will stop a lot of things that this country currently needs. A lot of folks that would have to wait until the age of 25 to sign up for the military, probably not so gung-ho to do it at that point. Does that make me a hater of our military? No. I support our military. I support everybody that's currently in our military, except for maybe Bo Bergdahl. But the simple fact of the matter is, we need to realize that just because someone is a certain age doesn't mean they're able to make the best decisions possible. And to be looking at a 16-year-old who is still a minor and saying, well, we allow them to drive a car, so what, are we going to start allowing 16-year-olds to drink now? There are certain states where they're wanting to lower the voting age to 16. Hell, I think we should raise the voting age to about 25. Because again, you start understanding consequences at around that age. But back to the story with Jared. Got a couple of clips I want to play, and we'll just kind of let those play out, and we'll kind of discuss them as they do. Here's the first one. This is cut one. Go.
Operate flying over the house of what we believe to be Jared Fogel's house. Jared Fogel, as you recall, the longtime spokesman for Subway. There is a large police presence outside his home in Zionsville right now. We know there are federal, state, and local police, as well as it appeared canines there as well. We don't know exactly yet what is going on. Chopper 8's been there a while. We want to check in now with Keith McCutcheon, and he can let us know exactly what he sees from the air there. Keith, what's going on that you can tell?
Well, right now, Dave, we see a large presence of, looks like police activity, maybe postal and service inspectors as well. We're not sure if we can determine if there's FBI here or who all is involved in the investigation here. But as we take a look right now, there's a lot of activity, and there's at least a large van there. We've seen a police dog go in, and several people going in and out, but we haven't heard anybody actually doing or carrying anything out so far, Dave.
All right, so that was a clip from when the FBI finally performed a raid on Jared's house, which was several months ago. Now, what you may not know, and we'll get to another clip that kind of touches on that in a little bit too, what you may not know is that during this whole time frame, there's been an investigation going against Jared for quite some time. The funny thing is, Subway really didn't do anything about it until recently. Actually, that I guess because the way this conversation is going, we're going to go ahead and play cut 3 next. So this is cut 3.
The FBI has subpoenaed text messages between Subway's Jared Fogle and a former Subway franchisee. Now, the former Subway franchisee is unidentified. We don't know what her identity is yet. But apparently, she had a sexual relationship with Jared Fogle. And through that relationship, which happened in 2008, they had a few text message exchanges that kind of proved that he was into some questionable things, including paying for sex with a 16-year-old girl. Now, I should note that in the state he lives in, Indiana, the age of consent is 16 years old. But remember, federally speaking, you're not supposed to be paying for sex in the U.S., so he might have broken some laws there. Now, according to the affidavit obtained by Business Insider, Fogle asked the former Subway franchisee in May 2008 to set up a meeting for him and her cousin. The cousin was underage at the time, according to the woman's lawyer. Also, we have some examples of the exchanges that they had. Business Insider did disclose some of those exchanges. In one of them, Jared Fogle said the following: "Any more news with your cousin? Tell me what you think about when you think of the three of us together." So he was trying to convince her to have a threesome with her underage cousin, which is amazing. Also, on June 19th, the lawyer says that Fogle again asked the woman to advertise herself on Craigslist. She responds, "Is this the same website you found that 16-year-old girl that you fucked? I still can't believe you only paid $100 for her." Okay. Also, in the message, Fogle repeatedly asks the woman, a Subway franchisee at the time, to advertise herself on Craigslist for sex with other men. So I guess he's into being cuckolded as well, which isn't illegal, but, I mean, he's got all sorts of weird sexual fetishes. He asks her if he can watch the sexual acts and tells her she can make about $500 per act. Now, the incredible thing is she allegedly went to the fine people at Subway and let them know what was going on. She said that she was uncomfortable with it, and Subway did nothing. They didn't do anything until Jared Fogle's house was raided by the FBI. That was when they decided, okay, well, we got to totally cut our ties with him, delete any mention of him on our website, and move forward. They probably were slow to act because Jared Fogle is thought to have brought in at least like 2/3 to at least 50% to 2/3 of their new sales or something after he admitted that he lost a bunch of weight eating their salads or sandwiches. So whatever. If all of this is true, Subway's in the wrong for not doing anything about it up until now.
All right, so there you have plausible proof that Subway knew about this situation since 2008. And yet, because they were afraid it was going to hurt their bottom line, they did nothing. How many more children did Subway allow Jared to be exposed to? No pun intended. Sorry, that was really poor word choice. I promise it was not on purpose. But how many children? Because they were concerned about their bottom line. And I understand innocent until proven guilty. Believe me, I do. But when you have a franchisee coming to you with documented proof of the conversations that one of your spokespeople is having with them, and you choose not to act on it because you're more concerned about your bottom line than the image that you're portraying. Because let's face it, at this point, when all of this comes out, Subway, you are probably going to be going through the wash. And not in a good way. This is crazy. I mean, cut 2, which is the one that we skipped that we'll be coming back to here in a minute, it actually outlines how long this has been going on. It's been going on a lot longer than any of us knew. But the point is, there was somebody in the company that was paying this person that knew these things were going on. And they chose to do nothing. Now you tell me we haven't lost something in this country, because this type of stuff, I'm sorry, but this pisses me off. You're going to tell me that some bunch of board of directors that probably found out about this thing through some memo said, do we know for sure if he's done any of this yet? Can we prove it? Or the text message is going to be enough? You know what they were really thinking was, wow, this dude's made us a lot of money, so maybe we can milk that just a little while longer. What do you think there, Bob? All in favor, say frick America. I know, she already said the word, but I really am trying to cut back. I really don't understand where we are in this country anymore. We have Planned Parenthood still being defended. They've been brokering the sale of body parts, and they're still being defended vehemently by the left. We have a Black Lives Matter movement that won't even acknowledge the fact that Planned Parenthood was started for the sole intent of wiping out the black race. And we have a company, Subway, who decided that children's lives don't matter as much as their profits. You tell me something's not wrong in this world, and you show me proof, because at this point, I'm losing hope. I'm not giving up the fight, but I gotta tell you, everywhere I go, it's like we have gone completely dark. We have companies now that protect pedophiles. We have politicians now that protect entire companies whose bottom line and one of their major profit goals, or profit makers, is selling aborted baby body parts for scientific study and for other things. Now, I understand that not everybody looks at human life the way that a lot of us do. But there's a quote that keeps coming back to me from Mother Teresa, and it actually was about the whole abortion issue. And I think we're honestly starting to see exactly what she was concerned about. Because she was quoted once as to say, if a mother, the giver of life, can kill her own child, what more could she do to you? Let that sink in for a moment. We have all of these people that are aborting children. Some people are using it as a form of birth control. Does anybody remember what Roe v. Wade actually said? Safe, rare, and legal. It was not supposed to be birth control. It was supposed to be available if somebody felt like they didn't have any other option. I wouldn't have nearly the adamant argument I have about abortion if it was being used as the law intended. I wouldn't have nearly the argument and the anger that I have right now when it comes to this idiot former sandwich guy Spokesman, until you find out that the company had probably, if you really want to be technical about it, been protecting him for at least 5 years. Alright, so before we go to break, one last clip I want to play in regards to this entire scenario. And this one will probably really get your blood boiling a little bit.
Yeah, it's important to point out that as authorities examine the contents from computers and other electronics seized from Jared's home, he has not been arrested or charged with any crime. Tonight, though, we're getting more of an idea as to what was allegedly said between Jared and this woman from the Suncoast. When Jared Fogle visited the Suncoast for charity work, he would often visit schools. This woman, a former journalist, claims to have spoken with Jared at least 6 times in person and even more over the phone, dating back to 2005. She says those conversations quickly turned inappropriate.
No, they weren't jokes. They were very serious.
According to her, what he said on numerous occasions was this remark about middle school girls, calling them hot.
I thought to myself, did he really say that to me?
The woman accuses Jared of making even more inappropriate comments, but she won't go into much more detail.
Do you think he just trusted you? It was obvious to me that he found himself to be very comfortable with me.
Jared's attorney, Ron Elberger, tells ABC7 he's never heard of these allegations, calling them unrealistic and a fabrication. This past Tuesday, the electronics in Jared's Indiana home seized, stemming from a child pornography case involving the former executive director of Jared's foundation for helping children live healthier lives. The Suncoast woman believes she played a role, saying the FBI had her wear a wire and record conversations with Jared over the years.
What they had told me was that a case of this size, that he is but a pea in a pod. So there were others involved, and at a case of this size, that it could take 10 years or maybe even longer.
WXIN, a television station in Indianapolis, reporting that they have confirmed with federal authorities that this woman did provide investigators with key information that ultimately led authorities to Jared's home.
That's right, folks. 10 years. The authorities have known about this man for 10 years. $10. And you don't think Subway was notified at some point? This is my point. This is my problem. Everywhere you turn, we have gone dark. I mean, this election cycle is case in point. Look at all of the people that are interrupting the Democratic candidates. I know normally I'd be cheering for that, but, you know, when people can't even get their messages out without somebody coming up and saying, you need to listen to me because I'm more important, we have a problem. When we have the Republican primary that's now basically become its own reality TV show, we have a problem. When we have a multi-billion-dollar company like Subway that knows their spokesman is probably doing things that he shouldn't do, and yet they decide to watch their bottom line more than they decide to watch the lives of children, we have a problem. When we have an organization like Planned Parenthood, where proof comes out that they are doing things that they should not be doing, illegal or not, it is immoral. And we have documented proof. And this administration, instead of going and looking to see if anything to do with that is true, they're attacking the people who are, pardon me, they're attacking the people that are trying to bring the truth out and wanting them investigated to see if they used any sort of entrapment to get the information about Planned Parenthood. You know what? Here's the problem. Unreasonable search and seizure doesn't apply to normal, everyday citizens. It's a protection against the government. You can't get an entrapment charge. The most you might be able to do, depending on the state where they live, is they might be able to get nailed for recording video without consent. Because depending on the state where they are in, it may be a two-party consent state to be recorded. I don't know if it was or not. I honestly don't care. The simple fact of the matter is, if it wasn't for these people, we wouldn't have known this ever happened. If it wasn't for these people that are coming out and talking about all of these crazy, weird things that this Jared idiot has done over the last several years, we wouldn't know anything about that either. I'm telling you, folks, we are in a world of hurt. Because we don't have a moral compass anymore. It's gone. I don't know where it went, but it's gone. When it's okay to kill children just because you don't want them, we have a problem. I mean, I just heard a news story on the drive home. Or actually, maybe it was the drive to work this morning. About a kid who was babysitting his cousin, I think. He was 13, she was 2. I guess at some point she wouldn't shut up, so he started doing anything he could think of to make her shut up. Next thing you know, he's going door to door, knocking on doors, carrying his cousin's body because at some point he had beaten her so badly that she was dead. When he realized what he had done, he started going door to door pleading for help. The kid has now been arrested, age 13, and people are wanting, at this point, the government in the state where he lives is wanting to know if they're going to if they're going to try to pursue charges against him as an adult. Something is wrong in this country. It is a deep-seated problem, and it's been here for a long time. And I'm going to catch heat for this one, but I'm just going to tell you exactly how I feel about it before I take the break. I'm telling you right now, the reason this country is in the shape it's in is because we've turned away from God. You can hate me for it. You can send me email over it. You can tell me that I'm just a no-good, dirty, redneck, racist Christian. I don't care anymore. I can't watch what's happening in this country and not stand up. If you don't have the same belief system as I do, fine. But I will tell you right now, this was at one time a Christian nation, and I know there are so many articles out there supposedly proving me wrong. Because the founding documents never actually mention God, but they do mention something referred to as a creator. So you can't tell me that even our founding fathers didn't have some concept of God. You know, it reminds me of a conversation that I was having the other day on a Facebook page, where somebody had posted that people feel like scientists lie to them in regards to evolution, but yet they fly in planes, drive cars, use microwaves, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The point I simply made on the Facebook page was, lie is such a strong word because they're giving us what they feel to be the truth. And this is where I got called out because I called evolution a hypothesis, and someone smartly pointed out, well, it's actually a proven scientific theory. Proven by whom and proven how? Fossil records? Because by that by that admission, we should all concede that Bigfoot's a person, or Bigfoot's real. And yet we don't. Because there have been too many supposed fossil records and footprints and everything else of Bigfoot that have turned out to be faked. So, my only point about that was that evolution, while it is an hypothesis, is flawed because it doesn't explain the beginning. Evolution, if we take the entire theory of evolution, wrap it with the Big Bang, and say these are the things that make sense, by that definition, I should be able to buy all the parts I need for a car, leave it out in the yard, and within a couple 100,000 years, it will have assembled itself. Granted, I won't be able to drive it, and by then it'll be obsolete, but hey, one of my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids has a really cool classic car, and it built itself because I just put the parts in the yard and waited for it to happen. Alright, so at this point, it is about time for us to go ahead and take a break. Gotta pay some more bills. We'll be back with you here in just a couple minutes right here on America Off the Rails. Don't go anywhere. Still got a lot of show left.
I'm Steve Long.
And I'm Lily Dane.
Are you tired of hearing the same Republican and Democrat banter from the mainstream media?
Does listening to the likes of Sean Hannity, Ann Coulter, Piers Morgan, and Rachel Maddow make you want to jump off a bridge?
If so, come listen to us on Liberty Unfiltered, Sunday nights at 8 Central, 9 Eastern on K98Talk.com.
Join us as we fight for freedom against the advocates of big government.
Liberty Unfiltered. It's not your daddy's political talk show.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We are down to about 20 minutes because we got to shut things down early to make room for the next group coming in, which, of course, will be G Nation right here live on K98 Talk. K98 Talk, the place where Wednesday nights rock. We got back-to-back me, then G Nation, and then According to Me. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Red Nation Rising Radio, Politibunny's triumphant return there first, and then, of course, she will start sitting in with Jason DeWilkins on According to Me. I believe it's supposed to be every other Wednesday from this point forward, but she is making a return to radio. So, everybody get ready to welcome back the Politibunny. We've missed her. I'm glad she's coming back. We also have a couple of new shows coming here pretty quick. We'll give you some more information about those as things continue. Of course, we also have the recent return of Liberty Unfiltered that has had some really great numbers since Steve has added co-host Lily Dane to the show. They actually joined us here a couple of weeks ago right here on America Off the Rails. And, of course, the only part of that conversation that Steve remembers is immigration bad, borders fixed, blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. Immigration bad, okay? Yeah, that's a conversation we had in an email earlier today when we were talking about the other thing that I talked about on that show, which is my former partner in crime with Finding Common Ground, Dave Brown, who recently changed his political affiliation to Democrat so that he could vote for Bernie Sanders in the primary. However, right after he decided to do that, the Oklahoma Democratic Party decided to open up their primary elections to independents, so he didn't necessarily need to do that after all. So yeah, he was a little disappointed about that. You know, the thing that I remember most about that was Dave calling me out in the chat room because I openly admitted that I didn't first understand why Dave would have done that, and two, how he could even consider voting for Bernie Sanders because the idea of pulling the lever for a socialist makes my skin crawl. To which point I was politely told that Mr. Steve Long, host of one of the now co-hosts of Liberty Unfiltered, couple of weeks ago burned his voter registration card. So I guess he's gone full-on anarchist. Alright, so back to the show. Just had to bring a little bit of humor back into the situation because it's just been a really long week. Ashley Madison. You know, there's some interesting things coming out about this Ashley Madison thing. Apparently, the first celebrity uncovered out of the Ashley Madison hack was none other than Josh Duggar. Apparently, he had an account with the cheater's website. Apparently, at last count, he had spent almost $100,000 with them. And of course, now there's been hundreds of email addresses released through a data dump, and a lot of them are in big banks. One that seems to keep coming up a lot is Mr. Duggar. Of course, he's already been in the news. Wow. Okay. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm really not, but this was hilarious. This was actually a tweet that he put out 17 minutes ago in regards to the whole Josh Duggar, Ashley Madison thing. As Mike Huckabee explains it, his buddy Josh Duggar only went on Ashley Madison because he heard it was a good place to meet family members. Ouch. I gotta give you that one, Donald. I don't know if you were running the account then or if you had one of your folks doing it, but that was pretty good. So, according to the Judge Report, there have been 15,000 government emails revealed in the Ashley Madison leak. Hackers released nearly 37 million profiles from a website for adults seeking affairs. Now, you know, I really tried not to pile on the whole Josh Duggar thing, but let the irony of all of this sink in for a second. Because, you know, this guy's basically the Christian version of Jared. I mean, you know, he did terrible things to a family member and yet eventually became a family values activist. I know I'm talking like William Shatner right now, but I can't wrap my head around this. I mean, come on. He's a former family values activist who, it turns out, did unspeakable things as a child, okay? So, you know, maybe we gotta kind of, you know, this is my war with it because he was a kid. But then he has a paid Ashley Madison account, and yet his job used to be talking and promoting and helping to get family values first and foremost in America again. I'm glad this show's almost over because I think my head is literally about to explode. But this is back to my point. We have lost something in this country. And I don't know if we're ever going to be able to find it again. When you've got somebody who's prominently and outspokenly trying to promote family values, who has skeletons in their closet as bad as this guy does, and then yet still eventually, you know, supposedly puts all that stuff behind him. You know, he was a kid, blah, blah, blah. Then he gets a job working as a family values activist, and yet he's paying a website that is notorious for helping people cheat on their spouses. And we're not talking a little bit of a payment here. I mean, maybe for that guy. But, you know, $100,000, that's a lot of money. I mean, it just seems crazy to me. So as of now, the FBI has gotten involved, and they're investigating the hacking of the infidelity website Ashley Madison. Muslim Brotherhood Muslim Brotherhood politician caught cheating on second wife at Ashley Madison. I don't know if that's a true statement or not, but that's kind of creepy. Actually, let's pull that up because that we could kill a couple minutes with that one. This is from Front Page News. Muslim Brotherhood poll, I'm assuming politician, caught cheating on second wife at Ashley Madison. Allegedly, 2 wives may not have been enough for Talib Abu Arar, a member of Israel's Knesset parliament with the United Arab List, who is part of the Islamic movement, aka the Muslim Brotherhood. The official Knesset email address of Joint List MK Talib Abu Arar, a bigamist, was found to have registered for Ashley Madison, a dating website for people who want to cheat on their spouses. When hackers released about 36 million members' email addresses, according to the hack, Abu Arar not only registered for the infidelity site, he confirmed his email address. That extra step is not necessary in order to join Ashley Madison, but the hack indicates that 24 million of the email addresses were confirmed. Of course, he denies having any connection to the website and said he plans to file a complaint to the police. Someone signed up with my email address in order to sully my good name, he said, calling for Ashley Madison to reveal the source of the registration. This information isn't final, some people have alleged, inserted the names of some The information isn't final, as some people have allegedly inserted the names of some famous people into the database, but it's hard to see how any third party could have confirmed it using his email address. As shocking as it might be to think that this fine, upstanding man could ever cheat on his wife, wouldn't it be wives, with a mistress? I mean, then it says another mistress. I think there was a typo there. But anyway. So you get the point. This Ashley Madison thing is everywhere. And it's not necessarily even impacting the country. I mean, the slogan of this entire website is "Life is short, have an affair." It started by telling us your relationship status. This is actually a screenshot from The Hill on Twitter. I mean, have we really fallen so far as a country that now we have people that are finding way? I mean, okay, so I guess it's the electronic version of a cat house. So I guess it's nothing new. But do we really have to have affairs available on demand anymore? I mean, does this make sense to anybody else? Is it just me? Am I just an old man who's lost touch now? Because look at these stories that we've talked about so far today. We've talked about Jared. We've touched on Planned Parenthood. And now we're talking about Ashley Madison. You tell me the one thing all three of them have in common. You tell me the one thing that all three of them have in common. I can tell you the one thing that all three of them have in common. They all involve our lack of moral compass. We used to have this idea of right and wrong. We don't have that anymore. And now everybody deals in shades of gray. Right and wrong used to be black and white. Now it's not. What's right for some is wrong for others, and what's wrong for some is right for others. Case in point, the whole recent hullabaloo over Bruce, a.k.a. Caitlyn. There was a time when we knew what right and wrong was. And I'm sorry, but if you are putting yourself first all the time, then you have lost track of what's important. All of us that do the things that we do, whether it's in print, whether it's on air, whether it's on terrestrial radio, whether it's digital, whether it's on local TV, national TV, internet-based TV, whatever the case may be, we all sacrifice a lot, and we don't do it for ourselves. Never once have I started this and said, I'm going to be the next Rush Limbaugh, or I'm going to be the next Sean Hannity. It's never been my goal, never been my plan, probably never going to happen, so it's good that's never been what I wanted to do. What I have wanted to do is bring attention to things that I noticed that nobody else was talking about, and at least not the way they should be. Everybody's talking about Jared. Everybody's talking about the fact that Josh Duggar has been uncovered as one of the first celebrities to be touched by this Ashley Madison scandal. Everybody's talking about Planned Parenthood, but they're not talking about the one thing that is a common theme through all of those, which is the fact that we no longer hold anyone accountable for anything anymore until we absolutely have to. We live by the mantra anymore of do as you will as long as you do no harm. Does anybody remember where that mantra actually came from? You should really research the Satanic Church, because I hear that said so often now. Do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody. Who cares? The problem is, it's just like any other addiction. If you start feeding that addiction, eventually it's not going to be enough. Whatever you're using to satiate that addiction is not going to be enough. And eventually your appetite is going to turn. And it's going to continue to grow. Which is why we now have websites like Ashley Madison. Which is why we now have breaking news stories about idiots like Josh Duggar and idiots like Jared Fogle, who from this point forward will be just known as the Sandwich Doofus, because it makes me sick to even say his name. So just let all of that sink in. The thing about the sandwich guy who loved kids just a little too much, the thing that Planned Parenthood has in common with the sandwich guy that loved kids just a little too much, the thing that Josh Duggar has in common with it, the thing the Ashley Madison thing have in common with it, it all comes back to the same major problem. We don't have a moral compass in this country any longer. Everybody's moral compass points to whatever the hell they want it to point to. There is no moral true north anymore. It's do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody, and be true to yourself. There are bigger things in this world than ourselves. There are things that we should be fighting for, things that we believe in, things that we should hold true, and we don't do that anymore. We have become a nation of self-serving, self-centered, egotistical asshats, as exampled by the current GOP political field that is being run like a frickin' reality TV show, as exampled by Mr. Josh Duggar, who, Mr. Family Morals himself, who has an Ashley Madison account, for God's sake, as exampled by Jared Fogle, who has been under investigation for nearly a decade for some of the things that he has done, and yet the company that was paying him did nothing because they were more worried about their bottom line. As exampled by Planned Parenthood, the thing started by Margaret Sanger, whose mission statement was to wipe out the black race. And yet we have folks in the Democratic Party saying things like, God bless Planned Parenthood. I'm going to tell you the other way. GD Planned Parenthood, and you know what I'm saying. Because it deserves to be. As soon as they took what was supposed to be a not-for-profit and found a way to make money off of it, every single dime of government funding should have stopped. We could have taken that same government funding and actually put it to the centers that only did healthcare procedures, not abortions. And not to the point where they were going to be not only performing the abortions, but finding a way to profit off of the abortions. Now explain that to me, because the other thing that's been driving me crazy, and this is the last thing I'm going to touch on, probably bring it up a little bit more tomorrow night when we have a little more time. But but not Monday, not this past Monday, but it was Friday. It was last Friday. JD came on with me from Game On and Bloody Marys and Broad Cheats, and we talked about a conversation that he and Stacy had the night before about Sesame Street moving to HBO. This is another prime example of just how crazy things have gotten, because you have all these people They're like, oh my God, don't cut public funding for blah, blah, blah. And yet they're moving a public broadcasting television show to a paid site. And I guarantee you we're going to keep paying them to run that show on a site that you now have to pay for to be able to access. Why? Because people are more concerned about money. So just to give you a little bit of a tease about what we're probably going to talk about tomorrow, that will be one of the things that we will bring up. More about the whole Donald Trump situation and a few things that have come out. Ann Coulter, who I am honestly not that big of a fan of, has said some pretty interesting things. We'll have some more about that tomorrow as well. For the moment, that is going to do it for this particular episode of America Off the Rails. Sorry, I know I've been talking like William Shatner a lot tonight, but I got going pretty good. So I keep having to take a little random pauses. But I will be back with you live tomorrow night right here on K98Talk.com. And of course, available pre-recorded through several other affiliates that are always mentioned at the beginning of the show. I want to thank each and every one of you that tune in on a regular basis, that follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social media, email, and everything else. Without you, what we do here wouldn't be nearly as much fun. Continue to hang out for the ride while we keep building, and I'll be back with you tomorrow soon enough.
Everything you earn by breaking your backs, we're gonna redistribute when we make our big tax. Hey, sit back down.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up. And he charged us a couple $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.